Hello, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're looking at an early release of One Piece. I always have that feeling that One Piece is going to come out early once it's had a break, so just by chance while I was at work I was having a look and lo and behold it's out. So I had to rush back after work, even though Wednesday typically I shouldn't really be doing mangas, on for the weekly kind. It's only left for training and monthly reviews, but hey, I'm not going to turn down some One Piece. Anyway, this, by looking at the camera, you're probably thinking, why is this angle different? It is basically because I've adjusted my setup to accommodate a few different things, and the lighting has changed slightly. So I'm always looking to make improvements and changes to my setup, and hopefully you will see that over time. And today will be the introduction of my new thumbnail, my first attempt at Photoshop. Hope you like it. All pointers are always recommended. Leave them in the comment section below. Without further ado, let's get into the review. So, point number one of my 5 talking points in this review. Bearing in mind these are my chosen talking points. It might not be the top 5, the best 5, the most popular 5, but these are the 5 points I want to talk about in this chapter. So number 1 is reverie. The way it's discussed in this chapter is saying it's still quite a bit off. We know it's coming. We know people are coming together. We know that people are gathering, but it's around the corner. It's not necessarily in the next couple of days as far as we know. So assuming timescale wise, I'm expecting it to at least be 2 weeks away, potentially 10 days away. Now, the way it's been discussed, there's 2 things to kind of pick up off this. They refer to it as still being officially recognized, meaning they recognize the idea that it is going to come to an end very shortly, and maybe this might be the last reverie that the Vinsmokes partake in the event. The second thing about reverie they discuss is the idea that they will come out of it. It leads me to believe that there must have been some type of agreement in place for them to be included. So that might be because they were going to give up the way they operate in North Blue so that they could be part of reverie, or it could be a situation where there was kind of like they got to an agreement where, look, no one's winning or something like that, and they wanted to kind of end the feud, and that's why they allowed them in. So I think for the most part, in terms of the Vinsmokes, it looks like they've been biding their time, and the father, Papa Vinsmoke, is telling his children, be prepared for that moment when we're not. So that's point number 1. Point number 2. Sanji isn't scared of his piece of shit family, which is important. He fought his dad, and he's been giving shit to his older brother, twin brother. He beat up Yonji. That wasn't an issue for him. Now, this is important because in the last chapter, or the chapter before, I believe, there was when the brothers arrived on the island, it looked like Sanji was scared. But I'm thinking that's more of a case of, sometimes you get a shiver up your spine and it makes you judder a bit. I think that's possibly what happened there, or maybe him worrying about what happens next. Now, the key elements here was he stuck by his principles. And that is, don't waste food and don't hurt women. At which point he even basically stood up for the head chef and stopped the plate. At one point he ate off the floor. And one thing we definitely know is Niji has some killer power in his leg kick. Because there's a part where he actually goes for a leg kick, but his father stops him because it's his wedding the next day. And basically he effectively says, stop. And he redirects his attack, and you see a big wave coming. So he hates his family, but his family can fight. They're not completely weak. They can actually fight. There is some battle prowess to them. But that's point number 2. Point number 3. Sanji and Redleg Zeph. Knowing that Sanji was acting out, knowing that he wasn't really playing ball, Papa Vinsmoke had to remind Sanji of where he stood. He goes, you play ball, everything is good. You don't play ball, and he has a poster of Redleg Zeph, he's gonna die. So very much he's very much manipulative at this point, I guess, with that. But it's important to understand that these are the piece of shit family that he has to deal with on a regular basis. You kind of feel sorry for Sanji, but where they see him as a bad egg, he's probably the best one there. And essentially we don't really know what happened to Mama Vinsmoke, but something later on in the chapter makes me believe something else is going on, but we'll get to that. That's point number 3. And I like the flashback. The flashback was cool. They had a few additional panels that they didn't really emphasize in the anime so much when they did this flashback with Zeph, but I liked it. It was cool, and it was reminiscing about his times on Baratier. So that was cool. I like that. Point number 3. Point number 4, timeline. So we get told that the wedding is tomorrow. So it's leading into the evening. They're going to have a meeting with Big Mom later on, so he has to get dressed up and look pretty, like dress nicely, I guess, dress appropriately. And basically we now know that time is running out. Ultimately at this stage, unless we've got some concrete proof that that Luffy has beaten Cracker, it's probably going to be someone else that's going to have to take the fall or jump in there. More than likely Pedro or Brook. Brook being like the anti Big Mom, because he's the soul fruit man and she's the soul fruit as well. So it's interesting how that dynamic's going to work. We're going to have to wait and see. Maybe he is the weakness for Big Mom. Anyway, that's point number 4. Point number 5. The head chef got our ass kicked. We don't really see it. We just see the after kind of effects or the after images of what happened. Yonji basically inciting feud between the brothers, saying, "Oh, you know, it's probably Niji. He's probably the one that did it." So there's definitely something there. But then he goes, "Come with me. I'll take you to him." He takes him to a room, and it reminds him of a childhood where they tried to get into the room many times in the past. He goes, "Look, this is what's in here now." And we see an army of clones, different type of army members, different clones, and this is possibly what they've been prepping for Reverie. They mentioned the ultimate goal, which is probably taking over North Blue and maybe all the 4 seas. We don't know, but it's important that they've got a clone army. So they remind me of a few different things. So the first things, when I saw these last few chapters in the introduction of Vince Fox, we know that they've got technology. It kind of reminded me of the whole $6 million man situation with technology, right? It also helped me kind of think about Terminator a little bit, and also the idea of the Universal Soldier. And that's when Yonji got his ass kicked and they used machines to put him back together again. That's the first thing I kind of thought of. And then you got the whole Star Wars Clone Wars thing going on as well. So it's interesting that we see that and then we get some confirmation of this is what they've been developing. That's probably why they don't care so much about the subordinates, because they're all clones. They might have a short shelf life. There might be a lot of different things to them that we don't know of. So this can also lead to a lot of possibilities. This could also lead to the idea potentially of any link to Vegapunk. This is where Caesar may get involved, or a third scientist that's capable or on the same kind of levels as them too. It can also lead to the idea that Sanji and his 3 siblings were in fact clones, and they may have been clones of the father, and maybe that's why the mother has never been shown. That is a possibility that kind of links and leads to that, so this might be foreshadowed for that. But it could also be such a tool in the future. Imagine they're able to clone some of the major stars and pirates back in the day. Can you imagine a clone of Goldie Roger? Can you imagine a clone of a young Whitebeard? That would wreak havoc on the Marines. They would be in some trouble. But anyway, I'll leave you with that. That's my 5-point review, my 5 talking points. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. Hope you enjoyed the shocking points of this and enjoy my review. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought, what your theories are, so we can get some speculation and conversation going. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I greatly appreciate that, and I'll see you next time. Peace.